Off-season starts now. Before we get any further, let's look at the playoffs like we do every single year. Who is going to be the champions of 2027? I believe the Orioles won it last year. I've seen the Dodgers win it before. I believe Phillies or the Rangers went back-to-back in 2024. So adding another recipient to the World Series list. It won't be the Rockies, but I'm sure we're going to be represented soon enough. Houston, Tampa Bay on the left side of the screen. Minnesota and Seattle, those are your wild cards. Baltimore and Texas earning buys there. On the National League side, it's going to be Atlanta, Miami, the top two Cy Young Award winners, duking it out in game one of that, I would assume, and division rivals going at it in the wild card. Arizona, San Diego, two of our representatives in the National League West, as Arizona won the whole thing, the whole division. No Dodgers for the first time in this since I've been the GM of the Rockies, so that's a better sight as they are starting to be caught up with. Philadelphia, Chicago Cubs, they are your top two seeds in the National. All right, after the first round, Houston swept Tampa Bay. They'll be taking on Baltimore in a pretty stacked division series. Minnesota beats Seattle 2 games to 1. They'll be taking on the juggernaut offense of the Texas Rangers. National League side, 2 sweeps. Arizona took care of San Diego easily, and Atlanta took care of Miami. So they'll be going on to face off Philadelphia and the Cubs, respectively. In the championship series, Arizona moving through Chicago 3 games to 1, and Philadelphia, Atlanta in a hot battle. It's going to be Philadelphia, Arizona in a rematch of the 2023 NLCS. On the other side of the coin, the 2 top teams in the American League are going to duke it out. Texas only dropped 1 game. Minnesota, Baltimore, and Houston with the full 5. Arizona and Baltimore. Baltimore, clean sweep of Texas, just not fair. Arizona taking it to 6 with Philadelphia. They were too much of a match, so Baltimore trying to repeat. Philadelphia won't be getting some World Series vengeance, but Arizona trying to claim the crown and represent the National League West with the best of them. 2 outs, game 6. After going up 3 games to nothing, Baltimore took a couple in the desert, and it's Drew Waters is the last hope here, as it looks like pretty much set in stone that Arizona is going to pick up their 2nd World Series title in franchise history. Landon Sims on the bump, 2 outs. Drew Waters, again, at the dish. 1-2 counts. Sims gets the sign. Kicks and deals. Drew Waters stays ahead. Waters, a former top prospect, and what a season by Arizona. Who would have thought the Diamondbacks were going to be hosting that trophy at the end of the year? I didn't. They have a good team, obviously led by Corbin Carroll and friends, but their pitching staff is really what's helped them out. They did lose Zach Gallen, but added a couple of great pitchers. Chris Paddock pitched last game, or this game, and went 8-2, basically 8 1/3. Been a fantastic series by both teams. But who would have thought the underdog Diamondbacks, who won the same amount of games the year that they went to the World Series, 88, I believe, is where I knew for sure they won 88 games this year. I believe they won 88 in the year they lost to Texas. And Waters blasts one, and it will be foul. Would have got the Orioles on the board for the first time in this potentially deciding Game 6, and Drew Waters having an incredible at-bat, just keeping things alive. And Landon Sims are at 15 pitches, and about 10 of them coming in this at-bat alone. Another one spoiled back. Come on, man. You're ruining the drama and the excitement. Drew Waters refusing to go home. Just won't do it. Just will not do it, no matter how much you ask. Put in play. It is Josh Naylor who knocks it down. Flip to first, and that's it. Diamondbacks win. They are your 2027 World Series champions. How about it? And not only do we see a new champion crown, it's one in our division. So we are extra motivated to knock this team off next year. And for the second time in 4 years, the National League West team is hoisting the trophy, and it's not the Rockies. Congratulations, Diamondbacks. But again, this motivates me. It's why I go to all the World Series. This is why I attend. I want to do this in Colorado. I want this fan base to see the joy. I want my players to experience this joy that Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas in the outfield, and everyone else, as Carroll, a World Series champion, Manfred in that piece of metal, handing it off to Arizona. Congratulations to them, but we'll be here sooner rather than later. I can guarantee you that. Here we are at the retirements. We got a surprise retirement from Drey Jameson. Said his heart just wasn't in it. And he goes after pitching 106 games in Colorado, racking up over 50 saves for us. And I guess we were talking about we might be looking for a closer with or without him, but I guess we'll be doing it without him. Drey Jameson hanging him up. Wow. Also got Kevin Rosario, just decided he wasn't going to make this team. He's done with baseball. He'll be hanging up as well. And again, just shout out these two guys, and I hope they have success in whatever they decide to do next. Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers in the history of the league, is going to hang him up. 190 wins, 3.31 ERA, and 26,000 strikeouts. Cy Young, multiple All-Star appearances, one of the best to ever do it. Giancarlo Stanton, a torn MCL on top of just poor play, has always hurt since he got to New York and just could not revitalize or refine the season. Saw 59 home runs, finished shy of 500. Not sure if he's getting in the Hall of Fame with these numbers, but did get an MVP, a couple Hank Aaron's, an All-Star MVP, home run derby, and again, just an incredible talent that unfortunately injuries took from us a little too soon. Starling Marte, another notable guy hanging up, did not play in the majors the last couple of years, but won a Gold Glove, a couple All-Star appearances, and really sneaky good career, especially with Pittsburgh, helping those early Pittsburgh teams that broke out with McCutcheon teams and Pedro Alvarez, guys like those. So definitely the people in Pittsburgh definitely tip the cap to Starling Marte. Chris Sale at 39 years old will retire as well. One of my favorite pitchers watching, not just as a Red Sox fan, but as a fan of baseball in general. Finishes with 26,000 strikeouts, or 2,600 strikeouts, 155 wins. And another guy that probably with injuries would have helped him out for sure. Man, a whole bunch of All-Star appearances. Never won a Cy Young, which was weird. Did win a World Series with the Red Sox, which was not weird at all. That was super cool of him to do, actually. And one of the best pitchers of all time to not win a Cy Young, and just period, one of the best pitchers of all time. So congratulations to Chris. Clayton Kershaw, speaking of one of the best pitchers of all time, he's finally done after 238 wins. Couldn't quite hit that 240 mark, but in 527 games, he had a 2.52 ERA, 3,200 strikeouts, and 3,000 plus innings. Hall of Famer, easily. Multiple Cy Youngs and MVP. One of the best pitchers I've ever seen in my life, and one of the best pitchers a lot of people have ever seen in their lives. There's a world where Sonny Gray was a multi-time Cy Young Award winner. We were not living in it, however. Did pick up a couple All-Star appearances. Ended up salvaging his career after injuries kind of derailed him in Oakland. I thought he was going to be an absolute force of nature. And you see that in his first 3 years, he was incredible out of Vanderbilt. And kind of slowed up a bit, found his footing again in Cincinnati and Minnesota, and ended off struggling in St. Louis, but pretty good career, especially with the injury concerns. He still ended up putting up 13 big league seasons. Elvis Andrus, another guy of note. Aroldis Chapman will no longer be pitching. 323 saves. Not the best person of all time, but one of the better relievers of all time. A whole bunch of All-Stars and 2019 reliever of the year. Tim Hilliard, former Rocky, played 28 games with us in 2024. Also had a whole bunch of games before I got here. Never really amounted to much, but he is retiring. Shout out Rocky. Trey Mancini is one of the best guys you'll ever meet. One of the best stories in baseball. Never had an accolade, but sneaky, one of the better hitters. Really was the top hitter in Baltimore during their dark times in between Machado and what they have going on now. But battled cancer, won. Shout out Trey Mancini. He is deserving of this retirement. Shout out JD Martinez, one of the best signings in Red Sox history. Did end up putting together a decent season in between after not playing at all in 2024. Had a decent season with the Yankees in 2025, but never really caught on after that. A couple Silver Sluggers, a World Series with the Red Sox, a bunch of All-Stars, and as an 18th round pick or something, he did pretty well for himself. All right, off season is officially beginning. We need a new third base coach, so I will let you know once we sign them. Our exclusive free agents, we have nobody, so we're just going to go right into free agency and see how we can improve this team. Ray Diaz is our third base coach now. Here's what our staff is looking like. We have one of the better coaching staffs in all of the league, and hopefully this ends up helping us in the long term. I think we have some really, really good people in here that are going to make some really, really good choices and really help us out, so we're putting a lot of faith into this team. As we look at our budget, again, still a $120 million budget, and that is definitely going to be heavily enforced once you take into consideration how we went over last year. Again, nowhere near the luxury tax, but whatever. It is what it is. Tommy Domine, Chase Dollander locked up long-term. Jesus Luzardo has 3-4 more years. Nolan Jones and Jazz Chisholm picking up a decent chunk of our time. If you add on to this, all right, we're going to be getting some, everybody else is going to be having their contracts renewed and all that. That's probably a bunch of $1 million. We're going to see our arbitration guys. Do we want to send out an extension? We're going to have to really be careful with our money this year and really try to make sure this team we can add without going over. All right, here we're going to go over some non-tenders. Darius Vine is going to be the first one we are going to non-tender. Just hasn't really stuck in any level, and we have a lot of depth in pitching, so why give someone $800,000? We can free up that money for somebody else. Billy McIver is also going to be waived the DFA, as well as Daniel Cope, two guys that we're probably going to have Ralphie Velasquez finally make it up. And again, why pay major league backup money for guys we don't need to? So these two guys are going to be hitting the Rose Bowl. Final two guys, Uelke Cespedes and Jameson Hanna, are going to be leaving as well. Cespedes, the main guy we got in that trade for Kyle Freeland and Omar Cannon. He just doesn't do well either. We already have a bunch of really good fielding outfielders that can't hit, so he's going to be hitting the road. And Jameson Hanna is too old. I don't see him really having a path with Montgomery, Leland Metzger, and others having just a better chance of making the major league. So those two guys will round out our notable, what's the word I'm looking for? Early non-tenders. Some relievers went as well, but those guys weren't really making it past high A as well. Crunching some numbers, we're going to have about $35 million to give out this year. So that's per year. So whatever, not in terms of overall money, but how much money can we put on the books for next year? It's going to be about 35. So we're probably going to be giving 15 right here to Ezekiel Tovar for the next 5 years. He has an option. We'll see if he accepts this, but we're going to try to lock in Tovar. This will lock him up to at least his age 30 season. And then if he comes back on that option, cool. If not, then he'll be 30 years old. Maybe we have a replacement for him if then, but who knows. But we need him here. Just one, a second Gold Glove. He's been awesome for us, mashing doubles, hitting a lot of home runs. And then this last year, not this past year, but the season before that, with those 27 home runs, 31 doubles, and 93 RBI, really broke out. After having a really poor 2024, had 3 really solid seasons for us. We look at his WAR. He's a 2-WAR, 5-WAR, 4-WAR player, and has amassed 14 WAR in his career. We want him here long term. We're going to be giving this deal to Ezequiel Tovar. So that's $15 million on the books. We only have about 20 more to play with after that. So you're going to have to really finagle the rest of our money. Also, just noticing, that doesn't even count these guys for the $20 million we have left to play with. So we're going to have, if Tovar accepts, we're going to have $20 million to play with these guys, plus what we have in terms of money to get relievers and other people as well. So it's going to be a money crunch, especially with that hard cap of $120 million to play with. So I'm going to be offering these guys some deals or whatever I decide to do, and we'll see what comes of it. Okay, here's our first look at free agency. We have some players out here again. With our money constraints, last year was our big spending. This year we're not going to be able to, and this is a stacked class from top to bottom. Anthony Rushman, Shane McClanahan are the 2 top-tier guys. We'll see if Baltimore has the money. They are giving him a huge contract, well-deserved as well. Luis Robert Jr., a guy we tried to get last offseason. We ended up switching to Jazz Chisholm. I was thinking maybe we could go after him this offseason, but he is asking for at least $20 million. I'm not sure. I don't know. Coming off a down year, probably going to have to be out of that race. Ozzy Albies, Nick Lodolo, Brandon Marsh, Geraldo Perdomo as well out here. Juan Duran, one of the best relievers in the game. Cy Young winner Logan Gilbert is out here as well. Alek Manoah, who has got his career back on track for the most part after a pretty dismal 2023, has been more respectable as of late. Bryson Stott, Alexis Diaz, and Blake Snell. Let's go by position and really check out this whole entire crop. Great starting pitching class. McClanahan, Lodolo, Gilbert, Manoah, Justin Steele coming off of a ERA title. Blake Snell only looking like he's only going to get 1 year, $11 million, which is kind of crazy. Reed Detmers as well out here. Drew Rasmussen could have won a Cy Young. Johan Oviedo, an underrated guy, looking like he's only going to get under $10 million a year. I have no clue why this pitching market is the way it is, and it's really because Scott Boras waited so long with Montgomery and Snell. It kind of reset itself to this level. Again, some really, really, really good names out here. Some really good value as you get later into the guys. Again, this is a super stack. Like Michael Kopech, only 3 years, under $10 million. Maybe this is a guy that we potentially go after, but for the bullpen, really, mostly, but I'm not counting on it. Let's see what the reliever class looks like. Some solid relievers as well as always. Genesis Cabrera, old friend, finishing up with Houston, having an all-star season with us last year, and to be another. Really don't want to be looking at these guys just to flip them like we have the last couple of years. I want to get these guys to keep them and for them to be very, very good. And Karen, Jack, Antone back out there after being with us last year and being traded. Got us some really good pieces. All 3 of those guys did. But just not a decent class, and we're going to have to get a couple of these guys. Duran, Diaz, Duvall, the cream of the crop in terms of closers. Andres Munoz out here as well. Adbert Azalai. Not looking like he's going to be getting offered a whole bunch. So he's a guy we might be able to finagle a deal with here. Zach Jackson, Matt Strahm, Jordan Romano, and Giovanni Gallegos close it out. Adley, William Contreras, one of the top two of the top hitting catchers in all the land are out here on the market. Cal Raleigh there as well, and then it drops off. You have older guys like Sanchez and Real Muto, and just more backup type guys as you get down. So really, if you miss on Adley, Contreras, and Big Dumper, you're kind of not getting a really good catcher. First base, Yandy Diaz back out there again. The Royals are putting an offer out on him. Danny Jansen as well. Another guy that could catch. Again, moved over to first base due to just having a great catcher in Chicago. Freddie Freeman at 95 years old is out here as well. Put up a pretty dismal season. Definitely the worst season of his career by a long shot. You have to go back to when he played 20 games for the Braves in his very first big league taste of big league action to get these core stats from Freddie, but not really looking at Freddie at all here. McMahon back on the market as well after his contract runs out, and then you have power options in Hoskins, Muncy, and Schwarber down. Ozzie Albies is looking like the Braves want to pay him $17 an hour yet again. One of the premier slugging second baseman, middle infielders in the game. Signed a very favorable team contract, and he might just want to do it again to run this back with the Braves. They have a stacked team. They're able to keep their guys at a pretty low cost, as well as adding the guys they have in the past few years. That's insanity. Stott out here, Castro, another former Brave, and Luis Arraez, Rosario, also on the market for second base needy teams. Jose Ramirez better than Barry Bonds, according to him. He is one of the most underrated players in the league. But at 35 years old, we'll see if he's finally ready to move away from Cleveland. Brendan Donovan, a sneaky good utility guy as well. Nolan Arenado, I don't think we'll be having a reunion with Arenado, but he's out there as well. He is aging, coming up to 36 years old. Has been an all-star since 2023. Isaac Paredes is there. He has some big power. A very solid third baseman group, and you're going to see a lot of good seasons by some of these guys, so we'll see where they end up. Geraldo Perdomo, the cream of the crop in the shortstop class, that does not have many guys, as all these shortstops are getting locked up early. Perdomo could be moving on because Jordan Lawler's finally on the Diamondbacks, the World Series winning Diamondbacks, and Perdomo could be looking to cash out. An all-star in 2023, but one of the better fielders in the position. Great bat, and fantastic plate skills. One of the best on-base percentage guys in all of the league, having 380, 390 in that area the last couple of years. Orlando Arcia is there, big bat against lefties, and J.P. Crawford can't really field much. I don't think he's much of a shortstop anymore. He could be moving on to somebody else and switching positions. Willie Adames' bat just has not stayed relevant. Brandon Marsh, and then a bunch of decent guys behind Marsh in the left field group. Randy Rosarena, not the Randy that we remember seeing when he first broke out in the league. Taylor Ward, an all-around bat. Patrick Wisdom has some big power potential. Luis Robert and Leotis Tavares and Stephen Kwan lead the outfield group in center field, and these three guys are pretty good. Cedric Mullins, probably a casualty of just wanting to keep some of the better prospects in Baltimore. Akil Baddoo, finding a good home in Detroit. We'll see if he can find a good home anywhere else. And Kyle Isbell, one of the best center fielding, Gold Glove center field caliber guys we have in the league. Finally, Lars Nootbaar, Tyler O'Neill, two former Cardinals out here. Nootbaar, an overall contact bat, and O'Neill, just an overall guy, has stayed relevant, stayed good, won a World Series with the Orioles, and former Rocky as well. Seiya Suzuki on the market for the first time since being posted by Japan in 2022, I believe. And Anthony Santander, another casualty of just a stacked outfield of Baltimore. He was with the Giants the last year, and the Giants trying to re-up him. First big move, Shane McClanahan. He's going to the Angels. 9 years, almost $300 million. 200 strikeouts last year as McClanahan getting a huge deal that's going to pay him almost 40. Adley Rutschman's going to Cleveland. The Guardians poach Adley. Now, this doesn't hurt the Orioles too much. They have Basallo, but you did see that the Orioles were the only one to have an offer on when we checked on them. But the Guardians come up and match that offer. Actually go a little bit over, I believe, and they get one of the best overall players in the entire league. First offer we're going to give out is to Scott Barlow, relief pitcher, 2.45 ERA last year, and trying to get some of these budget relievers. Another guy for just under $2 million, Gabe Spire, 35 strikeouts in 50 innings pitched last year, and that does allow a good amount of home runs and can add some depth here as a lefty. Probably the last reliever we're going off to, Jimmy the Glitch Herget. Keeps walks down, keeps hits down. Not going to strike out a whole bunch of guys, but someone that's going to keep runners off base, and that is what we need. Alexis Diaz is going to go to the Yankees to help them close out games, so he's no longer in the National League. Get all relievers, Barlow, Spire, and Herget are all on roster, so we did sign all three of those guys. Brandon Marsh ship it out to Boston, 6 years, $120 million, and to play left field for them. 27 home runs and a lefty bat going to Fenway. Ozzie Albies is going to Houston, so finally away from Atlanta. He goes to Houston on still a cheaper deal, 6 years, $64 million. It's going to be interesting how they make the infield between him, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Altuve, and Pena. So one of those are going to have to be DHing. Juan Duran is going to go to Milwaukee to add to Juan Soto and the Brewers. 2.54 ERA, 20 innings pitched to close out games for them. Alek Manoah is going to stay in division but go to Tampa Bay. 6 years, $73 million. That is the McClanahan replacement. We have a trade to announce. We're getting rid of Bretton Doyle and Willie Chachin. They're going to Tampa Bay for Antonio Menendez and Trey Morgan. Morgan, a fine fielder, does not have super good speed. I believe this is the first baseman on those LSU teams, so we could be looking to move him back into the infield just with the speed not being very conducive to our outfield. But an exceptional fielder that's coming along. But we're just done with Doyle. The Rays are a team where they can afford to have a net negative at the plate, which is with everybody else on their roster. We just cannot. We also picked up a pretty decent relief pitcher as well to add to our mix this season. And Menendez, good strikeout guy, has to keep walks in check, but overall, a nice solid 4-pitch mix. And we're getting rid of a depth pitcher in the return. So the Bretton Doyle era is to a close. If we were just a little bit further along the road, Doyle's the kind of guy that we would love to have around. We just can't do that right now. We just can't. Geraldo Perdomo is going to go to Miami, so done in Arizona he is, and going to Miami. 6 years, $156 million to be probably their new leadoff hitter. Nick Lodolo is going to the Giants, so our division rivals get a pretty good pitcher, one of the filthiest strikeout artists in all of the game. 177 strikeouts last year, and 89 win-loss record, but a 3.73 ERA tells more of the story on him. Reed Detmer's going to Texas on another big deal. Texas just adding on to their hugely talented roster, and they're going to be tough to beat. Hugh Rasmussen almost won the Cy Young, now going to Kansas City. They've made a bunch of win-now moves, and it finally might be paying off if Rasmussen can have a repeat season of what he had right here. All right, here's the draft lottery. We had the fifth best odds at a 67.95 record, a little bit worse than the Yankees, but better than the Mets, Athletics, Blue Jays, and Nationals, who finished with a 61.101 record. Let's see where we move in the lottery. We're at 5 to begin. Do we move up? Do we move down? Colorado Rockies move all the way down to 9. So we get rocked. St. Louis moves all the way up to number 1. The Angels move up. The Nationals move down. The Royals move way up 9. And we, just like the Athletics and Mets, moved down 4 spots, and we did not have a really good. And this is due to us being in the lottery all these years. I think they have you go automatically down if you don't have a good lottery. You're in the lottery so many times. So yeah, 10% chance at number 1 pick. We end up dropping 4 spots. It's not great. The winter meetings, we made a trade here. Jordan Beck is going to be going to the Angels for Roger Calderon. Beck, we just like our rest of our off-field options better. Again, Chisholm's obviously right in there. We had a great Ben Montgomery. We want to see what we have. Zach Bean, I think, has established himself as the better prospect and the better long-term fit than Beck has, and also Cedon Rafaela played tremendous in the outfield as well. He'll be getting some first-team reps out there in center field as well. So we're gonna get probably our closer in Roger Calderon. He's a surplus position on a team that wants to make the playoffs. Yeah, he's a decent prospect, but also I feel like they would gladly get a guy they can put in their outfield for a few years over a guy that they can have in their bullpen. So that's the deal we're going to do. I think it works out for both sides. Another trade we're going to make is with the St. Louis Cardinals. Warming Bernabel is going to the Cardinals for Mark Marbury. This clears up some 40-man space, also some money. And again, Bernabel with Thompson and Wagner were viewed as better than him, and Gabriel Rodriguez, who might end up being better. I think he was an odd man out. Started the year on the 40, so he's out of options. I don't think he was going to pass through waivers as well. Had a really good year against left-handed pitchers, and I think he's going to have a chance to start and play for the Cardinals every day. Mark Marbury, right-handed pitcher. I believe a guy that we had on our scouting board a few years ago. Walks he struggles with, but overall I think he can be pretty good with a nice 4-pitch mix: fastball, sinker, slider, and cutter. And again, another one of these moves where I think it benefits both teams, and our starting pitching depth just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Here are post-winter meetings. We made the trades we want to make. Here's what the free agency pool is looking like. I think we're done making significant moves unless something happens late. Here's what the free agent market's looking like. Still got a good starting pitchers. Gilbert's looking like Yankees and Mets. Pablo Lopez not getting huge offers like you would think he would. Tanner Houck getting some interest as well. Kenzie Gore, those are the teams going after him. And then here's kind of that second tier where these guys signing would then open up those. Reliever market's been pretty much wiped out. Catchers, William Contreras, really, really good backstop. He's getting some suitors. The Angels went after him. I think they have Jeffers and Ohapi. I don't know why the hell they would go after him. I guess to play right field, but why would you want him out there? Real Muto, no offers, and that's really it. Freddie Freeman at first base is dry. Bryson Stott getting some looks. Atlanta, again, you lose Ozzie Albies, get Bryson Stott. I mean, that just would be unfair. Luis Arraez looks like Atlanta or Oakland is where he's going back to, and then the rest follow after that. Jose Ramirez, still no offers, and third base. Isaac Paredes and Yoel Makata, short deals, but nothing too major there. Shortstop has been all out. Outfield, Stephen Kwan getting super low ball. And he's a guy. Maybe do we add him? Another late outfield that we can go and get. Won't offer much in terms of power, but good fielding. See what he's asking for. We have our maximum size, so we can't even make an offer there. And then right field, Nuke Bar getting some interest, and really that's it. But Stephen Kwan, interesting. Lars Nootbaar signing to the Oakland Athletics, a team that we did not know he was going after. Logan Gilbert going to the better New York team, the Mets. Shout out. The Yankees don't get Logan Gilbert. That's pretty cool. Pablo Lopez to Boston on a decent deal. All right, so this can pay him until he's 35. Tanner Houck to the Cubs. So that's the Tanner Houck replacement. They got Pablo Lopez. I think that's a pretty good trade-off for Boston. We're going to take Bo Brisky here in the Rule 5 draft. Again, just reliever depth. We needed it, and we have some spots on the 40 man that we can use. So we're going to also going Jeter Downs to the White Sox. So he goes to Chicago, and then Brooks Baldwin to Miami to play second base and be a utility guy with good fielding. Those were the three Rule 5 draft picks this year. Kenzie Gore going to Philadelphia, 3 years, $34 million. Another trade on my sleeve. Jeff Criswell and Connor Grames are going to go to the Cardinals for Cole Spanos. They need pitching depth, and if one guy gets hurt, they do not have anyone on the level of Grames or Criswell, so they get two guys to kind of fill in some pitching depth for them. We get a catcher that we can develop, we can wait on. He could potentially be something good. They have a couple better catchers right now, as well as Contreras. So Spanos is years out, so this is a trade to help them out now. I'm sure they can find a better catcher in the meantime, and we can have someone to sit on in case he can become something pretty good. Right now, pretty good, huge arm. The contact's in a pretty decent spot for him, but someone we can develop. Of note, Ezequiel Tovar did sign that extension, so $15 million from 2028 to 2032, which I believe also has a player option. So it could be a 4-year deal, but we keep Tovar here until at least age 30, and I can't be happier. And we were able to sneak in there and sign Stephen Kwan, 3 years, $33 million, to be our center fielder. His market was so low, and I don't get it. He's a guy who can get on base, which we really, really needed. Lefty bat, which we have a whole bunch of those, so that kind of is okay. But someone that can get on base, be our new leadoff hitter, plays fantastic defense. He's been a 4-5 WAR player. We got him on a pretty cheap deal because his market never developed. Everyone's looking at Louis Bob. He got the contract that he actually didn't get a huge deal, so this is a steal, and Stephen Kwan is going to be a Colorado Rocky for the next 3 years. And here are those big signings that were left. Stott, Contreras being one of them as well. He's going to Arizona to be their catcher. Bryson Stott, $14 million a year to go to Pittsburgh at second base. And Tamar Johnson they have there, so I wonder if they're going to do some moving around of those two. Jose Ramirez, 1-year deal going to Toronto, which should be really cool to see. And that is going to do it. Here's what the moves we made. Let's just go through the team. Luzardo, Dollander, White, Leonard, Garcia, Jim Mora, JJ Rose, Alex Hardesty. This team is incredibly deep at starting pitcher, and we could see all these guys making an impact. Guys like Rose, Mora could be ready day one. We'll see what we do with him, but Rose could be someone we bring up right away. Hardesty got a lick in the majors. We might want to start him off in the minor leagues again, but this was just an incredible starting pitching lab that we've built, and they're ready to really show what they got. Relievers, again, Brisky, Barlow, Spear, Herget, all new, and adding to Riley Pint, Ryan Hilliard, who we signed in free agency as a minor league free agent, and Vinny Garcia is going to add to a pretty decent bullpen it looks like we got here. Roger Calderon at 21 years old is going to be our closer. I can't wait to see what we have from him. Again, catching is going to be Romo Velasquez. We did pick up Mark Winchester as an not undrafted free agent, but a minor league free agent, and can't really field, but this could be a huge DH type for us, so a big bat, especially against lefties. So that could be interesting, especially if these guys can't really hit. He does. It could be an interesting platoon situation here. First base, again, Jan Keel's probably going to be our DH, but Domine is going to be our first baseman. Hunter Goodman is going to make the camp. He was someone we might have looked to trade, but that is what it is. Lauren Parker and Tyrone Garinger as well are going to be our top depth in the minor league. Adele Amador, the second baseman, his long-term contract we're going to have to hammer out pretty soon as well. Juan Guerrero looking to make the team as our super utility guy. Jose Torres and Derek Connolly chilling at second base in the minor leagues. Nolan Jones is back. Sterling Thompson, Max Wagner trying to fight out for a spot. I'm pretty sure Thompson's going to have a pretty secure spot. Shortstops, Tovar and Rafaela. See what Will Watson can do. He had a pretty good year last year. See if he can finally break big league camp with us. Jazz, Chisholm is going to be our left fielder with Stephen Kwan out there in center field. Benny Montgomery, probably our bench outfielder, and Zach Bean in right field. So that's going to do it here. That's the offense on a anonymous GM poll. This is what we're looking like. We're looking at the 21st ranked team in the league. Best defense again, a top 10 speed team. The contact and the pitching, I mean, we outworked our pitching rank last year. I'm not too concerned with the pitching. We added some contact with Kwan in the outfield. We didn't lose much defense with Stephen Kwan out there opposed to Doyle, but we did get a lot better with the bat. So that will do it here. Again, season 5 coming up soon. 2028 can't come soon enough. We'll see you soon here in the Colorado Rockies.